If you want your first star, your first offer, or even possibly a chance to make it to the NFL, you're going to have to get good at press man coverage. So today, welcome to the first episode of First 5 Yards. So at the snap, we see the DB put that left foot in the ground. And this is what I like to call a punch foot. Now this punch foot has to be short. Why? Because it's a false step. But you have to drive that foot in the ground and generate enough power so you can start motoring back. Now this DB actually does a good job of keeping it small. So why you have to keep it small? Because once it's a false step, but two, if this receiver does an immediate release inside, then if it's too extended, what happens is that'll delay you from opening up. Why? Because if your foot is too extended, you have to drop that foot back, then you have to open up and then you run, which can take too much time and you won't even be in the proper position to defend a slant, or you won't even be in the right position to be able to get on the top shoulder if it's a dig. So this DB right here, he does a really good job of keeping that punch step very minute. So now if the receiver goes inside, he can run with the receiver. Now when the DB takes that punch step, he starts his motor back technique. Now the DB does a really good job of keeping his feet up under him. And a lot of the times what happens is when you punch that foot forward and you start motoring back, a lot of DB's feet naturally tend to get wider as they're going backwards. Why? It's because the receiver might be moving and they're still trying to figure out, okay, what direction is the receiver going? But you have to keep your feet tight. Motoring, it won't work if you motor back and your feet get all out wide. You're gonna get cooked. But what you need to do is you need to do something very similar to this DB is as you motor back, just keep your feet tight, keep your feet tight. That way you'll be able to open up. Either if the receiver go left, you'll be able to open up. If he goes right, you'll be able to open up. So as you can see, this DB's motoring back, he's keeping his feet tight. But what also you don't see, or you probably see, is that he's staying on the balls of his feet, which is very important. Him staying on the balls of his feet will allow him to kick 45 either left or right, wherever the receiver wants to go. If the receiver goes inside, then what he does is he plants his right foot and he kicks 45. And that will allow him to stay on this receiver's top shoulder and he'll be able to defend any route. If it's a slant, he'll be able to defend it. If the receiver ends up pushing it vertical, he'll be on top of that top shoulder, waiting for the dig or the out or whatever route the receiver wants to do. And of course, if this receiver does the outside release, once again, keeps his feet tight inside of his shoulders, stays on the balls of his feet, he will use that left foot, he will plant it in the ground and kick 45 and he'll be able to defend any route that comes to him. The DB does a good job of staying square. So as you can see, the first couple of steps from the receiver, he's not picking a direction. So if he's not picking a direction, then you're not picking a direction. A lot of times what happens is a lot of DBs, their eyes are in a bad spot, and if their eyes are on the shoulder, then it would seem that the shoulders are picking in a direction. But in reality, if you watch the receiver's hips stay square the whole entire time. And then once the receiver chooses a direction, because he will fully commit his hips, that's when you can choose a direction and follow the receiver. So to keep it simple, if he doesn't commit to one direction, you're not committing to a direction. Until he commits, that's when you commit. The DB does a good job of opening and staying on top. So I want to freeze it right here. This is a great position to be at as a DB. Now, the DB's on top, but what happens if the receiver goes back inside? If the receiver actually starts to go back inside, well, he's gonna have to go through this DB's body in order to get back inside. Now, here, I would like the DB to just put an arm on the receiver's shoulder. Why? Because sometimes that if we're too on top, then our body won't help us get in position to go back inside. So if you have a hand there, just for like 2 yards, if you have a hand on this receiver's shoulder right here, your hand will be able to delay the receiver from going back inside just enough where you can actually get your body back in position and you can make a play on the slant. Oh wow, it's me right here. Here's an example of me. So as you can see, I'm on top of the route, but my hands allow me, gives me that split second where I can get back in position and make a play on the slant. And yes, that was Russell Wilson that I picked off in practice. So that's what I would like to see the DB do there. Just put the hand right there just for a couple of yards, and that will help him just in case the receiver goes back inside because he is already on top of the receiver. So another reason why I like this DB in position is because now he can play top-down coverage. So if this receiver keeps on going, right? Say he does a vertical where you're on top of that vertical. So it's going to be very hard for that quarterback to put that ball on the money, to throw it on point where the receiver can catch it. So now you put yourself in the highest odds of making plays on the deep ball. If you make plays on the deep ball, coach is going to love you. They're going to call you a ball hawk. They're going to say, oh, he's the best cover corner we have, right? Now to take your IQ a little higher, since he did an outside release, now you're going to think about the 80-20 rule. So if he does an outside release, 80% of the time he's going to do an outside breaking route. So it could be a comeback, it could be a hitch, it could be a go ball. 20% of the time is he's going to go back inside. But what helps you is what? Your leverage and your body. So in order for him to come back inside, he would have to go through your body and beat you in your leverage. But if you're already inside leverage and you already have good body position, it's going to be very hard for him to go back inside. And of course, if it's very hard for him to go back inside, that means it's going to be easy for you to make a play on the ball. All right, guys, so that was a wrap of the first 5 yards, the first episode. Let me know guys in the comments, what do you want more for me to talk about within the first 5 yards? You can always, leave a comment on YouTube, or if you have my IG, you can always direct message me on IG. I love feedback because I want to make this series for you guys so we can flip the odds of you making it to a D1 college. So we can flip the odds of helping you achieve your dreams for the NFL.